This is a massive undertaking of video. S23 Plus versus the Pixel 7 Pro versus the OnePlus 11. This is a pretty massive undertaking for video. And I'm going to talk to you about all three of these phones. And all three have been very good options. That's one of the beautiful things about being in 2023. If you want to get the Pixel 7 Pro, great phone. If you want to get the OnePlus 11, great phone. If you want to get the S23 Plus, contrary to my opinions about the price, it's actually a very good phone. And I'm going to talk about that in this video because a lot of you probably want to know what my opinion is about the S23 Plus. And I actually think it's a really good phone. Just like I thought the S22 Plus was a good phone. My fundamental problem is I don't think it's worth $999. You're paying $1,000 for a phone, you should be getting the best of the best. And there's just so much that's not the best of the best here. Like, they don't give you the better LTPO screen you get in the S23 Ultra. They don't give you the full 200 megapixel bigger, better camera. They don't give you Quad HD Plus resolution. You don't get the macro camera capabilities. There's just quite a few things that are missing when you talk about a $1,000 phone. So out of these three, the price points go $999 for the S23 Plus. The Pixel 7 Pro is $899, and currently it's on sale. It's been on really good sale, a couple $100 off. I think you get it for like $550 on Best Buy with activation, but they've had it a lot of big price drops, a couple $100 off. $750 has been a real popular price point for it. And don't quote me on the sale price. That stuff changes all the time, but yeah, there's been a pretty big sale. Even the Pixel 7, just as of yesterday, you could get it at Best Buy with activation for $350, or you could buy it outright for $450, which is an amazing deal. Pixel 7, very good phone. And then we talk about the OnePlus 11, $699, and it's been on sale a lot for $599. The S23 is the most recent phone. Actually came out basically the same week as the OnePlus, but a very much aggressive pricing when it comes to OnePlus. And I actually, as far as like, if you put all three of these phones together, like the OnePlus, the Pixel, and the S23, honestly, if I were going to spend my money, this is going to sound crazy, I'm probably going to go with the OnePlus 11. And I'll talk about that more in this video, but you get everything with this phone, except for wireless charging, which I don't care for because you get super fast charging. You can charge this in less than 30 minutes. It comes with a super powerful charger in the box, Quad HD Plus display, 6.7-inch screen, Snapdragon 8 Generation 2, and it's got pretty good camera stuff. The only thing that irks me is the video quality, and the selfie camera is not the greatest in the world. Like, whenever you pair all three of these phones up, when you go order of cameras, it's the Pixel 7 Pro. Just by a hair underneath that, you get the S23 Plus, and then third place, you get the OnePlus 11. I've taken a lot of photos with all three of the phones. Like, I've tested out the S23, I've tested out the OnePlus 11 extensively, and the Pixel 7 Pro. And for day-to-day performance, as far as battery life, charging, what you get out of it, I like the OnePlus 11. And a lot of you guys who appreciate my Pixel videos probably think I'm probably pretty crazy for saying that, but it's a really good phone. It's probably the best OnePlus phone they've ever made, and I like it a lot. And when you contrast it, like the S23 Plus, so let's just talk about this. 6.6-inch screen, 6.7-inch screen on the OnePlus, $699, $999. 8 gigs of RAM, 8 gigs of RAM. 128 gigabytes of storage, 128 gigabytes of storage. Quad HD Plus resolution, 1080p. Macro camera plus the other camera setup, no macro camera, but you get all three. So all three of these phones, you get the primary camera, the ultra wide, the telephoto, but then with the OnePlus 11, you get macro photography, and then also with the Pixel 7 Pro, you get macro photography. You don't get that over here. So yeah, there's actually more going on when it comes to the OnePlus phone as opposed to the Samsung. Now, where you do get a slight leg up, if you care, with the S23 Plus, you get DeX, which you get DeX and wireless DeX. You don't get that with either of these. OnePlus and Google don't have their own like virtual or desktop kind of software thing going on. So that's something Samsung has hung on to. It's actually pretty useful, especially the larger phones. So you get DeX, you get IP68 with the S23 Plus. You don't get that. There's no really good IP rating. It's like IP53 or something like that with the OnePlus phone. But again, I'm not taking an expensive flagship phone anywhere near the water. So I've never dropped the phone in the water, knock on wood, in like all my 20 years of doing this, but I don't really care about IP68. So you get no wireless charging here either. I don't really care for wireless charging, especially when you get the massive charging power capabilities. I've used wireless charging like back when I used to work in the office all the time. And it was more of like a just kind of battery maintain it. I would set it down there, I would take a look at it, kind of glance at it every once in a while, but it was always up and down, up and down, up and down. Who cares about wireless charging when you can do wired charging and get half a charge in 15 minutes and a full charge in just under 30, right? As opposed to the 45-watt charging over here, which takes tremendously longer. So yeah, they've got reverse wireless charging over here as well. The OnePlus doesn't have that. The Pixel 7 Pro has wired charging at about 30, 33 watts, whatever it is, but it's adaptive charging anyway. Very slow. Like out of these three phones, the Pixel has the slowest charging, but it does have reverse wireless charging, 5,000 milliamp battery, and just kind of putting everything together. All three of these phones have 8 gigs of RAM. All three of them have 128 gigabytes of baseline storage. All three of them have a pretty big screen. I mean, the Pixel 6.7, the OnePlus 6.7, the Samsung 6.6. Now, when you talk about the Pixel, it has a Quad HD Plus resolution screen as well. So out of these three phones, the Pixel and the OnePlus have the LTPO screen. It throttles down to like under 10, 1 hertz in some cases. The Pixel only goes down to 10. But the thing is they throttle down and they save you some battery life that way. And they all have good looking screens. All three have an AMOLED screen. Samsung, ironically, makes the screen that goes into the Pixel. I think they make the one for the OnePlus as well, which is kind of funny. But like when you talk about brightness, outdoor viewing and stuff like that, the S23 Plus has the best quality screen, even though it doesn't have the highest resolution, which is, it's just something they do to arbitrarily dumb down the S23 Plus and prop up the S23 Ultra. The S23 Ultra has the Quad HD Plus. All three of these have 120 hertz refresh rate. So you kind of get the best of most of everything with these phones. You get the top of the line true flagship experience with the Pixel 7 Pro, and you get the true top of the line flagship experience with the OnePlus 11. And somebody was like, "Oh, it's not a flagship phone." Like, well, flagship phone implies the best phone that they make. Just that's what it means, that the best phone that they make, and it's on par. I mean, when you talk about performance, Snapdragon 8 Generation 2, Snapdragon 8 Generation 2. So nuts and bolts wise, when you talk about performance, you talk about the same battery savings, you talk about the same graphics, you talk about the same modem and all that stuff. Basically, if you take the hardware out of these phones and put it on the table, it's like 95% the same. So the only real leg up you get with the Samsung is you get DeX, you get wireless charging IP68. And you pay $300 extra for that. Now, is that really worth $300 extra? No, it's really not. And I will say though, here's the thing. Honestly, I do like the S23 Plus, but I don't like it at $1,000. You look at the OnePlus 7 Pro, it's $899, and that gives you everything. Like, you're not having to cut any corners. It has the Google Tensor 2 chip for those of you who care about it or don't care about it, but yeah, it's a flagship phone. It's got all the bells and whistles. They've all got, stereo speakers. They've got 5G. They've got nice LED AMOLED screens. Everything you can ask for. But the OnePlus 11 and the S23 definitely are, I think, in my book, a little bit higher, like a little bit notch up on the processor, because the Snapdragon 8 Generation 2 is so good. The Tensor 2 has proven itself better than the Tensor 1. But I think when you stack them up, when you look at gaming performance, when you look at power, when you look at heat management, when you look at overall battery life, you're going to get a better experience with the OnePlus 11 and the S23 Plus and day-to-day performance and all those other things. Gaming, battery, less heat issues, especially when it comes around to like the camera, when you're doing things like GPS. So those are really the big benefits you get. But then you look at the OnePlus $699 and you look at the very bland kind of looking S23 Plus at $999. I would never pay $999 for this in a world where the OnePlus phone exists for $699. And the OnePlus phone is so good. I like it a lot. I think OnePlus finally got their act together. I think it's a very good phone. And also they got 4 years of operating system updates, 5 years of security patches now. So these two lead from the front. The OnePlus 11, the S23 Plus, 4 years of operating system updates, 5 years of security patches. Then you get the Pixel 7 Pro. It gets 3 years of operating system updates, 5 years of security patches. But when it comes to the OnePlus, when it comes to the Pixel, their phone comes out several months before the Samsung phones. So it's, yes, you get 4 years of operating system updates, but it's like you're not quite as far ahead of front of the Pixel as you think you are because the Pixel gets the operating system update a few months before they do. So either way, I mean, you're going to get several years of support. All three of these phones are supported up to 5 years. You're just theoretically going to get one extra operating system update out of the out of the OnePlus and the S23 Plus. So much talking here, going back and forth between these phones. But yeah, the S23 Plus, very good phone. Out of all three of these phones, I think it is the best, but I don't think it's worth the price tag. And whenever you look at other phones, you look at the OnePlus 699, you look at the Pixel 7 599, the Pixel 7 Pro 899, then you take a look at like the iPhone. And you take a look at the iPhone 799, the iPhone 7 Plus, iPhone 7. You take a look at the iPhone 14, it's $799. You take a look at the iPhone 14 Plus, $899. And then you go to their best two phones, right? You go to the 14 Pro is $999. That's all the bells and whistles. Like, you get everything. So when you take a look at the iPhone 14 Pro versus the S23 Plus, you get everything in the 14 Pro that you get in the Pro Max. It's just a larger screen. There are the trade-offs here. Like, again, you don't get the macro camera. You don't get super fast charging. Like 45 watts is all you get here. You don't get the better camera. So that's not something you get anymore. Like, you get the 50 megapixel camera from last year, not the 200 megapixel camera, or even the 108 megapixel camera that Samsung did so many good things with. You get 1080p instead of Quad HD Plus. So that's what irks me. This phone should not be $999. If it were $799, it would be insanely competitive. Like, this is a $799 phone. So if you find it on sale, you get it for $799, that's a great deal. I would recommend this phone a lot at $799. At $999, I definitely don't. The only way that I can really advocate for this over these other two phones is if you get a good carrier deal. There's so many good deals. Like right now at Amazon, at AT&T, you can basically trade in any Samsung phone and you can get this phone for free. You could trade in an S8, S7, whatever, get this phone for free. So if you talk about carrier incentives, not paying cash for this outright, like if you get a good incentive deal to where it's like, okay, you can pick one of these phones for free, buy the S23 Plus because it is a very good phone. But if you're paying your own money for it or you're trading something in, we all know the Samsung trading deals have been utterly horrible. Cash value $699, especially if you can find it on sale for $599. The OnePlus is a really good phone. And then for those of you who like the Pixel phone, you like the Pixel camera, the Pixel experience, you like the Pixel, like the stock Android experience, all the Google services and the call screening and all that great stuff. There's a lot of people who like the Pixel phones, and the Pixel market share has picked up tremendously over the last year, and Google's done a lot of good things here. So you can't really go wrong with any three of these phones. All three of them are very, very good phones. But when you take a look at it from the value perspective, what you get, all the flagship level features, the S23 Plus is not a true flagship. It does not have the best screen. It does not have the best cameras. Like, that's what the Ultra is for. But that's the whole point of this phone. They give you just enough to where you get a bigger version of the S23, but you're not getting a true flagship. And then they charge you an extra $200 to go get the Ultra. And the Ultra is a fantastic phone. I've said in many videos, I think the S23 Ultra is the best phone Samsung has ever made. It's an amazing phone. I would get that over this. But if you don't want the Ultra, if you don't want the S Pen, if you don't want to pay $11.99, if you don't want the curved edge display, the form factor on this one is really, really nice. The flat screen is nice. It's got a nice thin form factor. It's easier to hold one-handed. Still a 6.6-inch screen. Like, there's a lot of good things going on for it, other than the price. That's my only hang-up, and that was my hang-up with the S22 Plus, other than the battery life. Like, the S22 Plus was not worth $999, and the battery life was really not very good. They actually put a bigger battery in here slightly, and it's got the Snapdragon 8 Generation 2. So you get really good, like beyond all-day battery with the S23 Plus. OnePlus 11, I think, gets all-day battery, plus you can recharge it quick, fast, and in a hurry. And then the worst battery life of the three actually boils down to the Pixel 7 Pro. Now, I average about 6 hours of screen on time out of this. So I think for most people, it's still an all-day phone. but it could theoretically not be an all-day phone. And then on top of that, it has pretty slow charging. So out of all that stuff, if you were to ask me which one I would buy with my own money, I'm going OnePlus 11. Then if I'm probably going Pixel 7 Pro, especially with the stuff on sale. And that might sound odd to you because I said that I think the S23 Plus is the best out of all three. But it's not $300 better than the OnePlus 11. And for somebody like me who really likes the camera stuff and who really likes the Google services and thinks that there's some good stuff going on with the Tensor chip and doesn't do a lot of gaming, the Pixel 7 Pro really appeals to me. And the Pixel 7 Pro has tremendously good haptic feedback. It's great to type on. And I think it's just a beautiful phone. I think they did a great job with the Pixel 7 Pro. But like I said in the beginning of this video, you can't go wrong with all three of them. They're all three very good phones in their own right. They're all, like, two of them flagship level, OnePlus 11, the Pixel 7 Pro, and then the S23 Plus, like I said, very, very good phone. I just get hung up on that $1,000 price tag. There's just no reason to be paying for that when you can get a lot better elsewhere. But again, if you can get a good carrier incentive, if you could trade in something and get it for free, if you line up all three of these phones, mostly I'm going to say, yeah, go S23 Plus. So that's only if you can get a really good deal, if you can get a good trade-in incentive. If you're paying your own money for it, don't have a trade-in, I'm going OnePlus. And if you really like Google and you really want the best camera setup you can get, I'm going Pixel 7 Pro. And I love the Pixel 7 Pro, but for most people, I recommend the Pixel 7 over the 7 Pro because you get so much of the same experience, but you're also paying tremendously less money. And the Pixel 7 and the OnePlus 11, that's a very good, interesting conversation. I may have it in another video, but if I were going to spend my money, like probably out of all three phones, because I like the flagship level stuff, I like the 120 hertz, I like the Quad HD Plus. If I were going to buy out of the Pixel 7, the 7 Pro, the S23 Plus, or the OnePlus 11, if I had to spend my money, I would honestly probably buy the OnePlus 11. Now, if you enter the S23 Ultra into the equation, I'm going S23 Ultra. But I think things are so good in 2023. We have so many good phones to choose from, and that's kind of my comparison video between these three different phones. They all, as far as day-to-day stuff, they do basically everything the same. But when it comes to like that Snapdragon 8 Generation 2 you have in the OnePlus 11 and also in the S23 Plus, it's so good. It's so, so good. It beats the Tensor chip. Now, the Tensor chip is great for all the stuff that Google does, but a lot of people don't like Google. A lot of people like Samsung. Like, more people have Samsung phones than Pixel phones, and a lot of people really like OneUI. I like OneUI 5.1, best version of the software that Samsung's ever had. It's good, and I've tested out the S23. I've got the S23 Plus now. I've got the S23 Ultra. I've tested out all these phones individually, and they all have a lot. They stand on their own merits, and I really wanted to make this video to kind of talk about all that stuff. So, like, contrasting all three of these phones, software, the streamlined stock Android experience, the best camera setup, the best haptic feedback, and I think the best looking phone. We're talking, here you go. That's the Pixel 7 Pro. If you want basically other flagship killer, you want the best power and performance I think you can get for the price at $699, and then also pretty capable cameras. I think they've done a pretty good job here. Other than I just hate that the selfie camera is only 1080p at 30 frames per second. Completely irks me. That's like the biggest downside of this phone. But I don't really do any selfie videos, so I don't care that much. But the selfie camera definitely on the other two phones is better. But the OnePlus 11, I just really like it. I think that OnePlus came to play. I think they did a great job here. Power, performance, battery, charging, everything you could ask for in a flagship experience, almost like 99% you're going to get with that phone. And then you've got the S23 Plus. $999, like when you consider it with all the other phones, just, yeah, it's too much money for this phone. But if you do get one, you're going to like it. And if you find a way to get one with like a carrier incentive, then totally go S23 Plus. So that's all I got. Those are kind of my recommendations. I did this a little bit differently because there's so much stuff that's the same. Baseline storage, the same. Battery life, like milliamps, basically about the same. I mean, two of them have 5,000 milliamp, and you got a little bit less than that in the S23 Plus. But I mean, there's so much stuff here. Whoop, that fell on the floor. But there's so much stuff here when you look at these phones where it's like, How do you decide? So I kind of wanted to talk about in this video when I think about how I would decide if I were going to pick one, which situation I'm in, price wise, what they bring to the table, and really kind of where they're at. So that's all I got in this video. I hope this was helpful. I know it's a lot of stuff to take in. I don't think I've ever tried to contrast 3 phones together at the same time before. And you look here, the video is like 20 minutes long, right? So hopefully this added some value. Hopefully it kind of gave you a little bit different way to look at all 3 of these phones if you're looking to get one for 2023. And hey, if you have questions, comments, thoughts, if you have one of these phones, please go to the comment section. We can talk about this there. If you enjoyed the video, if you found this helpful, please hit the like and the subscribe button and the little notification bell if you want updates when new videos come out. And as always, thanks for being here. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you guys next time.